Welcome! This is Rooflemonger, and my friends, this is my tips and tricks guide for happy chaos in Guilty Gear Strive. Now, as always in these style of videos, they're going to be a bit longer, so there'll be timestamps everywhere in the video, so feel free to skip forward to whatever makes sense for you. But as always, let's start at the start and let's cover the character basics. So the first thing to mention before we even get into his basic moveset is the fact that he has multiple gauges. Now, there's two gauges, the bullet gauge and the concentration gauge, and funnily enough, they both actually govern the same thing, and that is your ability to use your gun. Every gunshot will both drain bullets from the bullet gauge, easily enough, right? That's easy to understand, and concentration from the concentration gauge. So if you are either out of bullets or out of concentration, you cannot shoot the gun. So both of these gauges govern the same mechanic, effectively. Because the gun, as we'll go over in the course of this video, is life for Happy Chaos. This is the whole point of the character. This is everything he is about. So keep in mind when you're playing the character, make sure to look in your corner, because if you don't have bullets or if you don't have concentration to pull off what you need to pull, and different moves use different amounts of concentration, you can't do what you want to do. So it's super, super important. Keep it in mind. Now, to mention his moveset, first before anything else, let's talk command normals, as he has quite a few actually. He has forward slash, which is a big wind-up punch. It has quite a bit of range, roughly this far max distance. The big thing about this is it doesn't need counter hit or anything special. It is always a soft knockdown. So no matter what, you're always going to knock down the foe. And being a command normal, you can cancel it from many different moves and normals, that kind of stuff. So very, very handy. Same thing, forward and kick. This is also another big advancing normal with quite a bit of range. This is a recurring theme. A lot of his normals have a lot of range. And, well, same deal. It doesn't knock down, but it is a true low. You have to block it crouching. So just helping with general pressure. And finally, for command normals, we have jumping, down, and kick. And this is basically like a pogo style move. Sort of like Chun-Li if you've ever played Street Fighter, her down and kick. The thing about this is, well, if you do nothing, he'll bounce forward just a little bit. But you actually control how he bounces. So normally here, just stays in place, right? Neutral jump, I pogo, nothing. But if I hold back, he'll actually move backwards. If I hold forwards, he'll move forwards. And this holds through no matter what. So if I keep holding forward here, he'll have a lot of forward momentum during the forward jump. During the forward jump, if I hold back, he'll stay in place. Because I am moving forward, there is some forward momentum, so I can't move fully backwards, but still. You control the momentum, so if you just want to be annoying, right? Like, like that kind of stuff here, like when is it your turn to actually do stuff? You'll never really know because gun pressure is pretty crazy, and we'll talk a lot about that in the video. So this is definitely a good annoyance command normal. Now on to the special moves. Well, the big one right here is gun. So the gun as itself, it works two ways. You can either draw it by hitting heavy slash. So he has no dedicated heavy slash attack like every other character in the game. For him, it draws the gun and it shoots bullets. So you can pull it out that way, or you can manually pull it out by quarter circle forward slash. And the difference is this. So quarter circle forward slash is an actual attack. You will launch up the enemy. The gun draw itself, if you just hit heavy slash, there's no attack associated with it, right? So either you want to do an attack while pulling out your gun, or you just want to pull out the gun, no fuss, no muss, and get to it right away. Either way, the attack version or the pull version, you hit heavy slash and you shoot your bullets. Now, we'll talk more about bullets as a mechanic later in the video because, well, it's kind of the thing. But the basic level of special moves is you got two ways to draw the gun. Now, that said, there's actually a third way, and that is quarter circle back and slash. Now, this is steady aim. The thing is steady aim, you probably notice right away the reticules are different here. So there's a green reticle, and there's an orange/yellow one. I don't know, my color perception sucks, I can't tell. But the thing is, the quality of the gunshot's quite different. So basic gun draw, blah, 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 little pea shooter, right? On steady aim, it's kablap. It's a big deal. So it launches on hit, and you can shoot them while they're in the air, no problem. And also, which is very important here, if they happen to block the move, it is a guard break, as you can see here. So it has a decent amount of chip damage associated with it. And unlike, say, a regular block, as you can see here, It's just much better in that regard because guard break has a lot of positive effects associated with it. You can be thrown after blocking a guard break, like right away. You can't do that versus a regular block. And there's just a lot of positive properties to the move, basically. So it is the big bullet. This is the Magnum, right? The Magnum versus the little pea shooter, which is not as good. So the quality of bullet is much higher, but the thing is this. If we have a look at our concentration meter, when you're in steady aim, your concentration meter, whoa, it goes down really, really, really fast, as you can see here. So basically, don't enter steady aim for nothing, because it's a massive drain on your resource. Versus the gun, you can be a little more laissez-faire, a little more crazy with it. It's a less of an open commitment. Now, before we move on to any other special moves, to note, either gun stance, it doesn't matter which one you're in, you cannot block while doing it. In regular gun stance, you're free to do whatever you want. You can do all your movement, all your actions. Nothing has changed. In steady aim stance, a lot changes because you can only shoot the gun or leave the stance. There's nothing else you can do. But in either stance, you are not able to block. This is because both gun stances offer overwhelming options and overwhelming pressure. So there has to be a weakness, and that is the weakness. So keep that in mind. You better believe in it because any stray hit will knock you out of whatever you're doing. Now, moving on to more specials, they all sort of also deal with the gun. The gun, once again, is very much the thing. The first one is, well, cancel aim. So while you're in your regular gun stance, if you hit down and heavy slash, you leave it. Pretty much cut and dry, just you exit out of the stance, right? This has a lot of positive effects with stance canceling, which we'll talk about later in the video. Stance canceling allows for combos that would not otherwise be possible, so that's very good. But yeah, just down heavy slash and you're out. Now, to note, while you're in the big gun stance here, steady aim, you cannot hit that. It is only for canceling the basic stance. To cancel out a steady aim, you either need to just redo steady aim itself, which will put you into regular gun stance, from which then you can cancel out from there, or you can cancel it from a different move. One of those different moves is the reload. So sure enough, the more you shoot your bullets, your gun has to be reloaded, right? So down, down punch, and Happy Chaos will reload his bullets. The big thing here is, you don't want to stand still, right? Like, if you're just here like a mook reloading your gun, you're going to get punched in the face. So thankfully, regardless of how many bullets are out, you can cancel the reload animation after the first bullet reload no matter what. You can cancel it with an attack, you can cancel it with movement, doesn't matter what it is, but you can cancel it. This also leads to certain aspects, which we'll talk about later in the video, both combo related and general pressure and all that kind of stuff. And it has a few neat tricks associated with it. So if reload reloads your gun, then focus reloads your brain. As the focus move here actually, well, it helps you focus. So it's twofold. It actually refills the resource, which is great, and also gives a small amount of buff. So let's say, go back to steady aim. You've seen how fast this drains, right? It's ridiculous. However, if we do our focus move, quarter circle back punch, and then we enter the state, you can see it's still pretty quick drain, but it's nowhere near as fast as it was before. So on top of refilling that resource, it gives you a buff so you can stay in your state for quite a bit longer. So it just lets you be more oppressive, more stupid, more ignorant with the gun, basically. Also, when you're holding the gun in either stance, you can also freely cancel into it, so just keep that in mind. It's just another way to keep your resources topped off. Next special move is the roll. So this is quarter circle back kick, and besides the fact you obviously roll, easily enough to understand, right? It's important for quite a few things. There's a lot of tricks and gimmicks associated with it. Also pretty important for some combo structure. And now the roll in and of itself, two things. One, it can switch sides with the enemy, so it can pass through them. Although it cannot pass through an enemy in the corner, just FYI. Only if there is some space behind them to pass through. And it is what we call a low profile move, meaning it's very low to the ground. Lower than you might think. So say we have Leo here, and he's doing Sand Slash. I can just as easily go underneath it. It's not perfect. So if we have Leo here and we do like down kick, like it's still gonna hit me. I'm not so low to the ground, I can't go underneath his crouching kick, right? But it can go underneath quite a bit of moves, so if you're looking to work your way in, this is one way to do it. And once again, very critical for certain gimmicks, and you're pretty much gonna have to learn how to use this move for a lot of combo structure. And the companion combo guide is linked at the end of this video. Next, we have the Scapegoat. Now, Scapegoat is a very interesting move because there's really not much like it. The closest thing would be Zato's Oppose, but it definitely doesn't work the same way. So, quarter circle forward kick, and, well, you create a clone of yourself. Now, one of the things is this. Say if I were to go to my settings here, and let's turn off regenerating health. You will now look here, you can see Happy Chaos. I'm losing life. I'm losing a fair bit of it. The thing is, every time you do this move, it takes 10% of your existing health. And eventually, you'll be left with nothing. So the thing is, it can't kill you. But when you're at near nothing, basically, you know, any one hit can kill you. So you gotta watch out for that. But here's the beauty of the move. So Scapegoat is basically a big defensive totem. It will take any hit meant for you, even if you happen to be in front of it. As you can see there. So Leo did a move, it hit the clone. I'm in front of the clone. It should hit me first, right? But no. As long as the clone is there, it'll take any hit meant for you. But it has to be one single hit. So for example here, this projectile, 2 hits. The first hit, it'll break the clone, and the second hit will hit me in the face. So it is very strong against single hit attacks, but multi-hitting attacks not so much. Now, the thing is, you probably associate this with being a very defensive move, right? And sure enough, it moves you backwards too. But the thing is, it can be great pressure. Because, say, you do it in their face in the corner and you go into attack. If they try to hit buttons out or whatever, they're going to hit the clone instead and you can punch them in the face. The opponent basically is not allowed to hit buttons. If they try to hit buttons, they'll hit the clone instead and you'll crank them in the head with whatever you tried to hit them with. So it can be very strong as an offensive tool as well. If you want to use like a Pokemon reference, I guess this is like Substitute, I guess. But yeah, it's strong on defense and strong on offense. You do have to pay a hefty price, you know. Losing health isn't nothing, but considering how powerful it is overall, it can be well worth the cost. And our final special move is the Curse. So Curse doesn't look like much. As you can see, the enemy doesn't even react to being hit because the move is, for all intents and purposes, just intangible. It doesn't interact with anything. It doesn't interact with fireballs. You can't block it. It simply doesn't connect or doesn't it. If it misses, it misses. If it has to travel a far distance, it will bounce. And while this move is on, it's a debuff for the enemy basically. While the move is on, your gun, be it the regular shot or the steady aim shot, becomes more accurate. So say we are going to have the gun on and Leo, he's going to dash across the screen, right? It tries its best to follow through, but you know, maybe not so great. But with the debuff on here, there we go, same deal. As you can see, it's a lot tighter, it's a lot closer. It doesn't guarantee that you will get your hits, but it certainly helps. And now to talk his super moves. First up here, we have Deus Ex Machina. So the thing about this super is it hits you no matter where you are, it doesn't matter. So the enemy could be like trying to like jump above and behind you. Doesn't matter, even though I'm facing the wrong way, the bullets, they'll figure out where they need to go. So that's great. Now, the other thing here is, say you happen to be low on bullets. The super move will always refill your bullet count. After the little cinematic, your bullets will always go back to 6, no matter what they were before. Now, the thing here is, you can't do the super while your concentration gauge is broken. You need at least like 1 tick of concentration gauge. If it's stuck in the refill penalty, you can't do the move. So just keep that in mind if you're looking for the big go home super to end the combo, get the wall break, that kind of stuff. If you are in the red, as it were, you can't do it. But otherwise, very strong super overall. His other super is the Super Focus, and I'm not going to lie to you, this one's not cool and fun, right? So what Super Focus does is it'll always refill your concentration gauge, no matter what. And it'll always give you the buff that the regular concentration gauge buff gives you, right? Where you drain less. But the thing is, even though it's not cool and it's not sexy, it actually has a lot of value. And we'll talk about that in a later section. But on paper, that's all it does. Now, let's speak on some notable normals. And thankfully, Happy Chaos has quite a few. First off here, 2 of your 3 command normals. That's forward and kick and forward and punch. They're both, well, great, and they work great with his existing normal set. Especially off the back of Stand Kick. Now, Stand Kick is a workhorse of a normal. So stand kick has a decent amount of range to it. Like not miles, but it's just a regular kick, right? It's 6 frames, which means for its overall range, it's actually quite fast. And the thing is, it goes easily both into either of the command normals. So either way, it doesn't have any issue. So this is great to start combos and to end combos. In fact, stand kick specifically is how you're going to start a lot of your stuff. Be it just general pressure or for combos. Since this goes into command normal so easily, this will become one of your primary combo starters. It also very easily goes into the sweep, which is another one of the ways you'll start a lot of your combos. It's also barely negative on blocks, only like -3 or something. So stand kick into command normal is a party starter in a lot of ways. For other pokes, we have stuff like stand S, which is very good, but even better than stand S is crouch S. Crouch S is pretty ridiculous as it has quite a bit of range, as you can see here. It's 11 frame startup. Usually how this game works is moves that have longer than average range have 12 frame startup. So it has longer than average range, and it's faster than other moves with longer than average range. So you can use this as a pretty dominant poke for bullying. Also, it has a disjointed hitbox. So the part of the gun that can hit has no hurtbox at all. So you can only hit Happy basically in his hand, or rather more to the point, his wrist, than anything else. So the very tip of the move cannot be hit, but it can hit you. So just very, very strong. Also, if you get a counter hit, and with being a dominant poke, you're probably going to get more than a few counter hits. Very easy to visually confirm. Go into steady stance, the big gunshot, and get some shots in. And then, that's not bad damage off a singular poke, right? Now, the move is a bit negative, so you don't want to be using it, directly up close. If you're up close, you stand kick or something like that. Don't worry about it. But for the range it's given, it's just very, very strong. It's low risk, high reward, everything you could want out of a poke. Also to mention is Jump Dust. So it's a move made famous by Iori in the King of Fighters games. It's been imitated a lot in other games, and it's here again in Guilty Gear Strive, and it's very good. It's just basically an automatic cross-up. He just kicks the other way. So you don't have to worry about spacing, timing, this, that, and the other. Just do it, and it works. And for the most part, it's pretty easy to combo and stand kick into command normal into whatever else you're going to do. So just strong all around. If you're going for cross-ups, well, it's basically the only option anyway, so you might as well. But it's a pretty good option. So one important thing you should know about Happy Chaos before anything else is he has no defense. He has defense in the way everyone does. 6P is upper body invincibility, good for anti-jump-ins for the most part. Although the hitbox is pretty poor compared to a lot of other 6Ps. But he doesn't have 1 ounce of invincibility is one of the things. You already can't block while you're in any gun stance, so that's hard. That's no defense in and of itself, right? The offense is really good, but the defense, not so much. And his supers, this big cinematic super, almost all the big supers have some sort of invincibility attached to them, so he can do a wake-up super, not this one. So if you try to do a wake-up super, you can see here it says reversal, right? But the thing is, even though it says reversal, I'm still getting hit because there's not even a single frame of invincibility. So you have no means to protect yourself on wake up other than block, backdash, and his backdash is very average. It's not one of the better ones. Or tech if a throw is coming your way. You got no real recourse. His other super as well, the one that regains your concentration gauge, same deal. There's no invincibility frames. You try to do it. You can see reversal all you want. You're going to get smacked out of it. So just a big beware on that. Happy Chaos has no defense other than the universal mechanics that everyone in the game has. All right, so now let's talk the bullet in and of itself. So we mentioned in the last little segment real quick how Happy has kind of bad defense, but the bullets and all the gunshot and everything about the gun is why, because it's an incredibly powerful offensive tool. First up, the first thing you need to know about the bullets is when you shoot the gun, be it no matter how you shoot it, either stance, it's not when you press the button. So if I go blah, 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 and shoot the gun, it looks like it's when you press the button, but if you have here, look at our handy little notation guide here, my inputs. If I hold the button, ain't no gunshot coming out. The bullets come out when you let go of the button. That's what we call negative edge. So you can, happy as you please, hold the button, and then when you let go is when the gun actually will shoot. So if you're looking for combo structure stuff, pressure stuff, just let it be known when you're doing stuff, you can do whatever you're doing, then immediately hold heavy slash. And then when you let go, that is when the bullet shot's gonna come out. The bullets themselves basically come out the frame of animation you let go of the button. And the thing is, they have no travel time. Wherever you are on the screen, doesn't matter where they are, doesn't matter where you are, when you let go of the button, it'll hit the enemy. The only mitigating factor is the reticle. The reticle, if the enemy's moving around, you might not connect, right? It'll try its best to shoot, but if you're just going crazy and just like mashing the gun here, it might not always connect. You might just be shooting air, right? So you do have to wait and have it like lock on, for a lack of a better term. The steady aim is a lot better at this, for sure, but also that's why it drains the concentration gauge a lot faster. But for the most part, that's about it. The bullets are instant, and also they do not count as traditional projectiles. So say Leo, he does his little shield stance, it'll block it, I guess, but it's not going to send it flying back at me. Potemkin has the big anti-projectile flick move, right? The thing is, can't flick this. And other moves that deal with projectiles or otherwise, you know, reflect them, evade them, or whatever, it doesn't matter. They cannot stop the bullet. The bullet is a projectile and a class all of its own. So a lot of the anti-projectile stuff in the game, it just clear as day bypasses them. So on top of all of its other goodies, it's very good for the fact you can't deal with it in the usual ways you normally can with a regular projectile. Now, the real beauty of the gun and the bullet, the basic bullets, is the pressure and the fact that it kind of warps how this game normally works. So we talked in the notable normal section about crouching slash, right? And it's a great poke, this, that, and the other, but you don't want to do it too close, because if you do too close, it's a negative enough that you're going to get punished, right? And even if it's like a little jab, that jab can be special canceled into something, then big damage. So that sucks. But thanks to the gun and the bullet, don't gotta worry as much, in fact, turns out. So if I want to be very basic about it, remember how I can hold it, and when I let go, that's when the bullet shoots. I can then hit crouch slash and immediately hold heavy slash. And so in this scenario, I still get punished, but maybe I let go a heavy slash. And then, hey, well, all of a sudden, the bullet pushed him all the way out of punish range. So my unsafe move just became safe. I'm still recovering from the move because you can shoot whenever you want. Doesn't matter if it's in the middle of a move's recovery or whatever. It's an attack that can come when attacks normally can't come at all, right? So it changes the whole dynamic of everything. So it can make unsafe moves safe. And conversely, yeah, we can make unsafe moves safe, sure, but we can also punish people for trying to punish you. So that was a counter hit, as you can see here. So what we're doing here is we're letting go of that bullet just a little bit later. So when he's trying to punish our move, well, now you can't, right? So it's an ability to like basically leave you in fear and ruin your normal senses. Normally, if you know the frame data of any given move, okay, I do my thing, you do your thing. I know this is -10, -12, -13, whatever it happens to be. So I can definitely hit my button after the fact. The gun and the way the gun worked says no. Relearn everything you've learned, because now Happy Chaos is allowed to attack in situations where he otherwise should not be able to be. Because all he has to be is in stance. That's it. As long as he's in stance, no matter what he does, as long as you hold that button, like if I'm doing kick, whiff it, oh, I can shoot on my whiff, right? If I do stand slash on my whiff, yeah, I can shoot the bullet. Doesn't really matter, right? You can shoot whenever you want, and that is very terrifying. And it gives them a lot of unique situations to work for. Like say a Stand Dust. Stand Dust, the uncharged version, you know, it still hits overhead, but if you block it, it's definitely a punish up close, right? But now, well, you know, screw it. I'm going to have my gun out. So let's see what happens now. Oh, there we go. Once again, we counter hit the punish that should have been coming our way. So this is just the thing you need to think. Anything you do on offense can challenge what they want to do in response, and they eat a bullet to the head. Now, yes, granted, the bullets in and of themselves don't do too much damage, but it completely changes the flow of how the game normally works. Conversely, like using our Stand Dust example, he's the only character in the game that can combo off his own Stand Dust. Normally, you can't do that. But for Happy Chaos, well, he doesn't play by the normal rules, right? So now all of a sudden you can get combos off your Standing Dust, whereas other characters, the best they could hope for is do Stand Dust and then do like a Roman cancel if it connected, or whatever. Happy, all it takes is one bullet, and he gets the combo off his Standing Dust where no one else in the game can. This gives you such freedom on offense, where no other character gets anything comparable. The closest would be Zato with Eddie, but Zato and Eddie, obviously, it's its own unique can of worms, to be sure. And you can't just go with Eddie, go blah, 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 blah. So, you know, Happy wins in that department. Now, talking more gun stuff, and I know we're talking a lot of gun stuff, and we're probably going to talk some more, because the gun is the character. You need to know about the sweet spot. So, say we shoot the gun here as fast as we can. There we go, we got a hit. 20 damage. Now, if we just chill out for a second, now shoot the gun, 30 damage. Why exactly is that? Much the same here. 40 damage. Wait and chill for a second, 60 damage. And a much bigger launcher. So that is what I'm calling anyways, the sweet spot, a clean shot, whatever you want to call it. Clean hit, clean shot, sweet spot. What it is if you wait a split second, make sure the reticule is properly all the way locked in, you will get a damage buff. So it's there to reward unsloppy play. So with the basic gunshot, you'll do a little bit more damage versus if you just shoot as fast as you can, which is good. You know, more damage equal more better. And for the big ready stance shot here, so if you just let it lock on properly, you get 20 more damage on the first shot, which is great. And the launch, like look how high that is versus how high this is. It's like double the height. So this can change combo structure. So let's take a look here at something like this. So if we are in the steady aim stance, it's very easy to hit the enemy because the reticule is so much tighter. So say we get our hits here. Look at this. So 102 from full screen. That's not the worst, to be sure. But if we are just a little bit more patient, you get 136 instead, and much, much higher juggles. As you see, the enemy was way higher up in the screen. So in situations where, say, you get that straight hit, right, and you get the counter hit, that's great. And say you want to convert right away and just, start shooting the enemy, blah, 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 blah. You will still get your damage, 122, as you can see here. But if you're just a little bit more patient, as you can see here, 140, right? So same deal, nothing really changed other than we were just a little bit more patient and let the reticule come in so we can get that clean shot. Certain combos are only possible if you get the clean hit because you need that additional height from the launcher. So knowing just about the concept itself definitely helps. More damage is always good. And you can actually get way better stuff than you currently are getting if you're just that smidge more patient. And now all that said, keep in mind the curse moves, because the curse move helps the reticule gain lock on faster. So if they happen to have the curse on, this will all be much easier basically in the end. All right, now it's time to learn about combos and cancels, because there's a couple layers of this. There is the basic gun and there is steady aim. They both have complex ways to use their cancel mechanics, either being the direct cancel for the basic gunshot or canceling the heavy gun into other moves. They both can cancel their stuff and allow more complex combos. So let's talk about it. So a basic combo is something like this. You do an attack and you quarter circle forward and slash, which is the gun ready that pops them up in the air. Now you can do combos from it, sure enough, like, something like this, all well and good, right? But some more advanced routes involve getting multiples of the launcher in play. So how would I do that? Because when you are in gun stance, you can't do the launcher. You'll just get either stand slash or forward and slash, the command normal, right? So when I did my forward and kick, I actually hit down and heavy slash, which cancels me out of the gun stance. And that means since I'm out of the gun stance, I can re-enter the gun stance and then re-pop them up. As you can see right there, right? So now our combo options are expanded.
Hey.
And then all of a sudden, we got a bit of a fancier combo, right? And you don't have to do it directly in that. You can also work it into other combo routes. Say something a little bit more standard. And then all of a sudden, we can create a slightly more advanced combo thanks to adding the cancels into it, right? The possibilities are near limitless, right? I'm basically showing you basic examples. You can go as crazy for the most part as you can dream on this stuff. Now, the other important kind of cancel is reload canceling while you're doing steady aim for combos. So I'm waiting to get the clean hit specifically when the reticle is like really zoomed in. And when I get my clean hit shot from our steady stance, then I'm canceling that shot with the reload. And the thing is, as we went over earlier in the video, the first bullet of the reload has to happen, but after that, you can cancel it into anything you want. And that's basically it right there. So we did our shot, we reload, cancel the reload back into the shot, got the shot again. Once again, you will have to wait for that sweet spot to close in for the bigger launch. Then we can cancel that for the roll and work our way back in. These kind of combos are, at least to me, maybe your mileage may vary, a lot more difficult than the normal pistol cancel combos. So you might have to try it out and practice for quite a bit, I'm not going to lie. But still, this is definitely one of the cool options he has available to him. Now, let's talk option selects. Happy actually makes fantastic use of the near universal option select. That being, you do whatever move you're going to do, and if it's a regular hit or blocked, you do something, and if it's a counter hit, you do something else. So you can see here, we're going to go to our menu here, counter hit, and then turn it to random. So don't know if it's going to hit, or if it's going to counter hit. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. Who knows? There we go. We finally got a counter, right? So who knows? I can't tell. And let's just give you a basic option. So we talked earlier in the video how crouch slash is such a great poke. It's such a good poke. Yeah. And how you can actually get a pretty decent conversion off of it, right? So now let's make this 2-layer option select work. So we're going to do our poke. And if it's hit or on block, we're going to cancel into our curse move. So it'll basically let us back up a little bit. And, you know, if they block especially, right? And then apply the curse to them, and that's great. And if it happens to counter hit, we're going to draw out the steady stance instead and get the big shot instead. So we're going to get the best of the two options. So just to show you. So what we're going to enter is this. Crouch slash, then forward, or quarter circle forward rather, and punch. And then quarter circle back and slash immediately. So it'll look like this. So you just do the move, and then you do both inputs, and you'll always get the best of whatever the two options are. So there, we got the stance because we got the counter hit. That time, no counter hit, so we retreat, and we get our curse. And once again here, counter hit, so we get stance. So as you can see here, I'm doing the same motion every time, right? No matter what it is, I just get the better of the two options for me. Obviously, we want the steady stance, right? That is what we're aiming for. No pun intended, I guess. But if they block, we definitely, then going to steady stance is kind of a bad idea, right? So if they block, then we get our little curse orb and we back away and we're all good to go. And now I have it on force counter hit. So if we do get our steady stance, we can get our big shots off and get some really respectable damage off a single poke, right? And if they block or hit, then it's curse, walk away. And then when the curse is up, our full screen poke game gets a lot better. So that's how the 2-layer option select works. And this works off anything. Like, I could do forward and slash. Forward and slash is a big old punch, right? And same deal, same motions even, really. If it connects normally or is blocked, I get the curse. If it happens to be a counter hit, I'll get the steady aim stance instead. So same deal here, even stance slash works the same thing. If it hits regularly, not. If the counter hit, we get the steady stance, right? So this is just a super basic option select, but it really helps. You remove yourself from the enemy if it's not, valuable to you. And if you get the big hit you're fishing for, then you get the big gun and you can go from there. So this works off any button, any normal. It's very easy, very simple. Lots of characters have option selects like this, where basically you get one thing on hit or block and one thing on counter hit. I almost want to say it's kind of baked into the game. I feel like they purposely designed it this way, but Happy has one as well, and it's really, really good for him. Now, a quick thing to mention is simply roll mix-ups. So your roll, good for combos, good for some defensive forward movement. And also, while you're in gun stance, you can shoot at the end of the roll. Now, as you can see, it's not always the most accurate, right? But one of the things about how the gun works is if you hit the enemy with anything, doesn't matter if it gets hit or if it's a block, right? You actually get a little bit of an accuracy buff. So if you were to go kick, roll, and then, well, your gunshot will connect after that roll, because you have that little bit of an accuracy buff. The thing about roll is there's a little bit of a sweet spot right around here, where if you're just like 1 pixel to the right, you'll cross up, and if you're 1 pixel to the left, like after a block normal, then you won't cross up, right? So for example, this should cross up, but this won't. And it's kind of visually imperceptible, honestly. You can make it that you yourself, maybe you don't know what side you're going to hit on, but if you know the enemy's going to block, and if they're not in the corner, because you can't roll past people in the corner, just FYI, you can kind of create this little bit of a mix-up where you just force them to block, roll, and then shoot on the other side. And whatever side you happen to land on, you know, same side or not, doesn't really matter. You can combo from it. From there, you can go into basically anything you can imagine. So once again, roughly this distance is the sweet spot where it's a little difficult to tell what side you're going to land on, be it a cross-up or not a cross-up. It's difficult. Like, sometimes I'm not even sure, right, on my spacing which one's going to hit. And from there, since it's difficult for you to tell even, right, how are they going to tell? And then you can just shoot them on the other side. Once you shoot them on the other side, go into normals, buttons, whatever. At worst, they blocked, and then you just keep your pressure going, or at best, you get a little bit of a combo conversion. So it's just something to keep in mind. So in this section, I would like to talk the super focus. So yes, it refills your concentration gauge. That's great. Gives you the little buff that the regular focus gives, but it's not too sexy and cool as a super move, right? Certainly not like going crazy with the guns. But the thing is, it can change the properties of a lot of stuff. So the enemies hit the block and the jump after block. We call this the jump test. This is the old school way of figuring out frame data. So say I do a move like crouch slash, I know for a fact it's negative, right? And if he's going to jump right after block and I jump right after he blocks, you can see he jumps first, right? Whoever jumps first in this situation, where you both jump after block, that is the person with the advantage. That's the old school way of figuring stuff out. But now, say we do the super focus here after our crouch slash. Not quite negative like it was before. He clearly was ahead of me there, right? But I'm actually slightly ahead of him after I do the move. So what this actually allows is it makes moves that are negative or otherwise unsafe in any way, shape, or form, since it recovers so fast and knocks you out of, you know, whatever animation you were in before, you don't have to complete the animation, it can make negative or unsafe moves advantage on block. Like, say, a sweep. You know, super negative, like, jumps way ahead of us. But now, not so much. If you do it correctly, you have the advantage, right? So this actually, on top of refilling your resources, gives you a little bit more pressure. Also, it kind of acts like a Roman cancel. So if we do something like this, say we Roman cancel forward to keep our combo going, right? Doesn't really matter what it is. If we were to do this instead, I can still keep comboing, but the thing about Roman cancels is they kind of help scale your combo forward sometimes, depending how you do it, and we don't have any of that. So it also works as a Roman cancel with the side benefit of refilling your bar. You know, it doesn't quite knock people up all the way, and obviously doesn't have the slow effect, right, if depending on what you're using. But it is multifaceted besides just the base thing that you see there, so please keep that in mind. And to kind of end up here, just talking a generalized game plan. The thing with Happy is, I think he's the single most advanced character in this game, and nobody comes close, not even Zato. So at a very beginner level, like, you know, good normals, better than average for sure, right? good to abuse. And honestly, even though people are not really talking about it, like gunshots as a single, like I'm not talking like going blah, 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 and like whiffing all your shots, right? But I'm talking like once you're locked on, helps if you have the debuff up, all that kind of stuff. Gunshots as a singleton are not bad, folks. Once again, instant travel time anywhere on the screen, and you can only eat a couple of these before you start realizing like the damage is picking up, right? But neither do I think he's a hardcore zoner. I don't really think that concept exists as it stands in Guilty Gear Strive. He has a range game, yes. And to his benefit to do it every now and then, just to remind you he's the guy with the gun. But I feel Happy is strongest as kind of a berserker pressure character. Because once again, as we went over in the video, the concept of being negative or punishable moves kind of doesn't exist for this character. As long as you have some resource to shoot a bullet, the bullet is always a threat. The bullet's always plus on block as well, because, like, you know, he can do whatever he wants while he's shooting the bullet, right? There's no recovery. So by definition, you're always at advantage when shooting a bullet. And that leads to a lot of that pressure. You can go crazy, doesn't matter, right? As long as you have a bullet in the chamber, the enemy always has to be scared of pressing a button back. It's really that simple. And when that becomes the case, when you're scared to hit buttons, you know, time to start throwing people. You know, Fighting Games 101, by the way. And by the way, his wake-up animations are insane. He's like throwing dead copies of himself over his own shoulder. Like, yeah, it's Fighting Game 101, you know? I make you block till you block too much and I throw you. But it really kind of works here. This is kind of really the thing. As for the particulars, he's so free flow. He's so whatever you want him to be in terms of like strings, pressure, offense, all that kind of stuff. I don't think I can give you a real answer of here's the right way to do it. Because I don't think there is a right way to do it. He's so free form, whatever you want to do, for the most part, you can do. Like, just constant pressure, whatever it is. I highly suggest just do what works for you. Perhaps go watch some other people play Happy Chaos so you can get some idea for yourself. But he's so free form and so can do whatever he wants, kind of whenever he wants to do it. It's difficult to say just what the general plan is sometimes. Like, once again, Uncharged Dust. He's the only character in the game that can get full combos off an Uncharged Dust because of the gunshot, right? And also, on top of getting the full combo, if you get the hit, which is great, it also makes it completely safe on block, even advantage on block, depending on how you space the bullet, when it should be punishable point blank. Happy Chaos is an enigma. I'm not going to lie to you, in a lot of ways, he's too big brain for me. This is honestly not the kind of character I would play. I like the guy with the big button, and then I do the command grab. That's what I like to do, right? And Happy Chaos is definitely many layers above that. So in the end, that's about the long and short of the video. Happy, very complex. I hope some of the parts of this video have helped you understand a lot of what he's capable of. If you know a fair bit about Happy Chaos yourself, if you got any specific tip or tricks you would like to let everyone know, please by all means post in the comments below so we can just help everyone learn the character, because he's a tricky one. And other than that, if you could spare a like for the video, these kind of videos take quite a while to make. That'd be very nice, but you don't got it. Don't worry about it. And we're at the end of the video. So thank you very much for watching. Hope this video has found you well. Go out and play some Guilty Gear.